The best $1,000 Bitcoin miner is finally here. I'm pretty excited to show you guys this one. These miners are plentiful, they're readily available, and they're truly one of the most contributing mining rigs in Bitcoin history to decentralize the Bitcoin mining hash rate, which is really cool, right? Just imagine, it's way better to have 1 million people mining Bitcoin with one miner as opposed to, you know, just a couple big companies. Oh, getting crushed. Woo! Well, yeah, this digital shovel mini pod. Wow, it's down here. We loaded this thing up. The 90T, you probably can't even hear me. It's right over there. Let's get out of here before I go deaf. Wow! Ah, that hurt my ears even more. My name's Vosk, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, and we're gonna be running through a review of this miner, basic overview of the setup, just everything you need to know about it. How much does it actually earn, right? You can look at calculators and junk like that online. Let's look at real world mining profitability. How many dollars, how many Bitcoins are flowing into my wallet or account? I really cannot understate how crazy it is to get this much Bitcoin mining hash rate, this much Bitcoin mining power for the money, for the dollar, and specifically, it's such a low entry price point. To say this more plainly, there has never been a Bitcoin miner this good for $1,000. At least since the Bitmain Antminer S9 came out, and it wasn't really available for $1,000 for all that long. 1 to 2 years ago, a similar Bitcoin miner would have sold for $10,000, like that. Now we have a bunch of different models available, and although the S19 XP is a better Bitcoin miner, dollar for dollar, this one blows it out of the water at $11 per terahash. That means the S19 XP is literally 3 times as expensive for the performance, but you are spending less electricity. Let's take a step back. Bitcoin is mined on the SHA-256 mining algorithm. And just to grab a real-time stat, this is pretty on point with the average. In the last 24 hours, $29 million of new Bitcoin has been mined. Bitcoin mining hash rate by these Bitcoin miners is like horsepower for a car. The more hash rate you have, the more horsepower you have, or really torque, right? Make you go faster, better performance, more powerful, whatever. My point here being, more hash rate, more Bitcoins mined. Less electricity consumed, the lower your electricity bill will obviously be. These are ASIC miners. They're application-specific integrated circuit miners. They're purpose-built machines. All they do is really one function. In this case, it's mine the Bitcoin mining algorithm, or simply mining Bitcoin. Once upon a time, you could mine Bitcoin with a CPU, a GPU, an FPGA, this other computer hardware that's more general purpose. ASICs are absolutely focused. It's like having a tool that does one thing amazing and it's terrible or not even usable for everything else. That's what we're dealing with here. How to set these up is real easy. You plug the power cables in. In this scenario, we're plugging 2 C13 cables, right? And then we're plugging it into our PDU. In this case, we're using our digital shovel mini pod. So I've got the C13 to C20 cable plugged right in, done. Other than the fact I need to be plugging in Ethernet as well. So that's the internet connection, that's the power connection. I log into the dashboard. Like every other Antminer, it's root to log in there. And then I'm copy and pasting my pool address, my username, and I click save, and that's it. I mean, you can even do this stuff on your phone. Laptop makes it a little bit easier. It's not exactly mobile friendly and optimized, but you can normally kind of clunk around and get through it. But if you're totally new to this, I have an electricity guide for setting up electricity for at home and small scale mining farm mining, as well as how to set up an ASIC miner, going through the basics of this slower and in more detail. A critical thing you need to understand about the S19 series of Bitcoin miners is you need 220 voltage plus to be running these. You cannot plug them into a normal wall outlet in the United States. but it is possible to configure an outlet in every single home for these. I really cannot understate how excited I am about these, and you can grab one from $1,000 from Bitcoin. Personally, I got mine from Crypto Miner Bros. This is a little bit more expensive, but there's a couple key differences. Okay, so this is technically the S19J. This is the S19. A little bit of a difference there in the model. When we actually look at the power consumption, this is consuming a little bit more. The other one consumes a little bit less power. This thing is in stock. It's been ready to ship. Bitmain likes to jerk you around with their shipping estimates. This is shipping sometime over the next month, they project. There's pros and cons to both, but the good thing is you can save some money off this price by punching in the code VoskCoin and support the channel when you use the link. When it comes to tariffs, your mileage will vary. Every time I buy out a Bitmain, I'm paying a 30% tariff. So although this price looks to be cheaper, by the time you add 30%, this is my tariff price. Then I punch in the discount code and I actually buy this miner cheaper than I bought it from Bitmain. All this talk is fine and dandy, but how much does it actually make? How much Bitcoin is it mining? Let's do a refresh. Latest data, about the same. So I'm mining on NiceHash. In a recent test, I found that mining on NiceHash was more profitable than mining Bitcoin directly on a few very popular, well-known mining pools. My test was not perfect, so I did not release all of the data. However, I just went ridiculous and bought 10 more Bitcoin miners that are all the same, that are going to help me do some of the coolest mining pool comparisons you have ever seen, or at least I hope so. I'm going to be digging much deeper into all this, but the fact is, in my initial limited testing, I was making more money. I was literally mining more Bitcoins, mining on NiceHash as opposed to some of these other Bitcoin mining pools, so I sent it over there. I'm taking mining serious, right? I filled up the whole pod, so this is not a hobby for me. Looking at the mining profitability day over day, I just have 2 full days of data so far, but I'm pretty excited. I'm having fun. I just kind of want to start working on this video. I'm going to watch the data for a couple more days and shoot a splice in for this video if it changes drastically or something like that. So taking the average of these two, and it's pretty much, it's close to what it's supposed to be, right? It's 0.00024, say to using my Satoshis, right? That translates right now to about $7.30. It's been a while since I've been excited with some mining pool findings, and seeing the increased mining revenue as I ramp up my mining farm on NiceHash is pretty exciting. With the 10 miners that I just bought, all the same model, I'm really poised to do some super cool mining pool comparisons moving forward. But until I get all that ironed out and set up, I'm parking my rigs here, and the earnings are good. They're impressive, right? We even look at the actual profitability, and this varies, right? And you can't just exactly take this at face value. But right now it's ranging from between $4, that was pretty low, to almost $13. Average here, right? We're looking at like $9-10 a rig, whereas these miners are projected to be earning around $7 a day. And look, I get it, right? That's just actual profitability here off the fly, projected. So let's look at this. This is the 90T, but now we have even more data. This one's showing 546, but we can see, we look at these daily earnings down here. So we have a couple more days now. So we're still right in line with that early data we have. When I zoom in on the historic earnings here on the chart, it pulls $7.25 for this miner on average every 24 hours. I'll have to run some more tests long term, but maybe the hash rate marketplace that they offer is making the difference here. If you do decide to use NiceHash, please use your boy's link down in the video description below. Help support the channel. But there's several mining pools that have affiliate and referral setups. Don't think I'm talking about this positively just because of that. At 10 cents per kilowatt hour, we're projected to mine $6.76. In reality, I beat the projections pretty substantially by a percentage here by mining $7.30 as opposed to $6.76. No matter and what way you slice it, at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, I'm still consuming $7.80 in electricity. So I am treading water or really have a small loss. I operate as a business, so this is an expense, and in that manner, I'm actually still coming out ahead as long as I have some other miners that are much more profitable, basically making this mission more viable. This miner is really made for industrial mining farms with good electricity rates, or just simply people that have really good electricity rates. For example, if you are mining at 5 cents per kilowatt hour on your electricity cost, now the calculator says $7.35. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're hacking me. Maybe they pulled my data. The point here being, though, is that this mines, say, $7, right? Or we mine $7.30. Consuming $3.90, you are making $3.45. After your electricity bill, you are making more than $1,000. You're breaking even on this. Normally, I've noticed Bitmain pretty much prices their miners, if things aren't too crazy, at a 1-year break even at around 4 to 6 cents per kilowatt hour. But something crazy is happening over the next year, and that's the Bitcoin halving. Right now, it's projected to happen in 290 days. And although Bitcoin's price is relatively lackluster, I mean, it depends how you want to look at it. At least the market's lackluster. At $300,000 per coin, which I still think is so cool, and kicking myself, I don't even want to get into it. I wish I tried to hoard more Bitcoins when I got in, when Bitcoin was cheaper. Sometimes a little bit too much shit coining, sometimes not enough shit coining. It's a dilemma. The point here being, though, is that Bitcoin's price is not at an all-time high, and Bitcoin mining difficulty is basically at an all-time high. The network hash rate is at an all-time high. The competition is like at an all-time high. Bitcoin mining farm buildouts lag 6 to 18 months normally from when they are planned and put out. So all of the major Bitcoin mining farms that were born out of the previous Bitcoin bull run are pretty much operational or have gone bankrupt, or if they're kicking ass, are expanding right now, which kind of gets away from the point I'm making here. But my point is that most of these new big farms are already up and operational, and there's not going to be a crazy influx of additional ones right now. This is actually the market where, the boys will die and the real man will thrive. These conditions are tough. These conditions are difficult. And when Bitcoin halves, if you're not familiar, that means the amount of Bitcoin mined per day, or the new Bitcoins made per day, literally cut in half. So, sounds cool. We're mining $29 million of coin per day right now. Well, that's going to be about 14 and a half, right? $1 million per day after the halving. That means if you were making $10 per day per miner right now, if nothing changed and nobody unplugged, just nothing changed, you will be mining $5 of Bitcoin per day. If your operation was half as profitable, can it still stay afloat? Mine can't. So I'm swimming in the deep end. I don't really know how to swim, and I don't have a life jacket on. But that's what makes this exciting. I'm always like a big fan of, and forget that really lame crypto.com ad that they hijacked one of my favorite, more or less, sayings or usage of a word, and they did like fortune favors the brave or whatever. But the point is, like, I really like the saying that fortune favors the bold. Right? If you don't make bold moves, you're never gonna have bold outcomes. All of this is a double-edged sword, right? I could kill your ass, or I'm gonna get cut on the blade, maybe die myself. If you want to make life-changing moves, you got to make big plays. Doing the same thing every day, working the humble, casual, easy 9 to 5. You're gonna have expected outcomes. That's fine. That's not for me though. Which is why I think this miner is really cool. And I'm not trying to like push it to buy from Bitmain. Honestly, Bitmain really pisses me off, period, without going into that. And they owe me a miner, which is annoying. I'm not trying to push a sale for crypto miner bros, right? Appreciate if you use the link and all that stuff, of course. But the point here being is that it has never been more attainable to pretty much deploy one petahash of Bitcoin miners, which is really cool. And one of my personal lifelong goals, I actually just went ridiculous and bought 10 miners, Bitcoin miners from a really cool local guy. And so I hit my 1 petahash goal, and in a couple weeks, I have a couple more Bitcoin miners on the way. I'll hit my, I didn't even know I had this goal yet, but 2 petahash goal. The point here being, though, I'm getting off topic. I'm excited. I'm ranting, I guess. Jeez. I apologize. The point is that look, they're 90 terahash a second, so I guess really you would need 12. But let's say 10. You get 10 Bitcoin miners for 10 grand. 1 to 2 years ago, that would buy you literally 1 miner of similar performance. That's crazy. The only miners you could get even close to a grand and were available back then, if you weren't chasing all the new stock, right, were a lot of these lesser known names like the Bolin miner. Like, this thing's a piece of crap in comparison. The efficiency is way worse, the longevity's worse, the software's worse, the company support's worse. You're feeding on scraps. Okay, you get the name brand miner that people want. These are easy to resell in the future. This thing's $1 grand a day. If Bitcoin goes to 100,000, this miner is gonna be worth a couple grand, if not more. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. A new generation could come out and be a lot more efficient and make these S19 series and associated competitors more obsolete in comparison. You never know. We only know what we know. I don't think that that's really gonna happen in the near term. I think that Bitcoin miner ASIC chips, relatively speaking, are very advanced. I mean, it's been a big arms race for a long time. Obviously, they can become better. I'm not saying that they can't, but when do we see that? A couple years, probably. Plenty of time to get some use out of these miners. This is just such a big opportunity for people to get into Bitcoin mining. Nothing is cooler or more exciting than mining Bitcoin. At least for me, I'm a nerd, right? And depending on your electricity, like, it may not be the best bet. I'm not a huge fan of hosting miners. I think if you can mine, you should be mining at home. Maybe deploy enough solar panels. We talked about that in a recent video. To run 1 miner at home. Put one of those silencer kits on it. Use it to heat the basement. Turn the fan out and vent outside when it's real hot in the summer or something, so you don't sap your AC. I mean, I could talk about this stuff all day. The fact of the matter is that this is a lot of miner for the money, and that's cool, that's exciting, that's engaging. I hope that you find this video to be, a lot of value for the content that you've consumed. I appreciate your time, tuning in. There's so much stuff to watch these days, and if you're choosing to watch VoskCoin videos, I appreciate that. So on behalf of the VoskCoin owner, Tails Vosk, cutest pup in the world, if you didn't know, and the resident Dogecoin, we'd like to say thank you. I hope you subscribe and stick around. Hit the thumbs up, share the video, help the channel. We're chasing 1 million subscribers, and we got a long way to go. So that's all I got. I hope to see you on the next video.